Today, I'll show you mods that completely change the approach to manufacturing products, from unusual crops and new possibilities in greenhouses to factories that will make you fully self-sufficient. And one of them is so extensive that it could be considered a full-fledged DLC. Without further ado, let's get started. If you watched the video where I checked the profitability of all production chains, you already know that a biogas plant is a very profitable business, with one, I'd even say huge, downside, and that is the initial cost. Regardless of whether you want to buy an existing biogas plant on the map or build your own, you need a massive budget. However, there's an interesting solution to this, the small biogas plant. This mod adds two versions costing 80,000 and 170,000 respectively. I haven't seen too many biogas plants in my life. None of the ones I know are this small. If any of you have come across something like this, feel free to share in the comments. Do such small installations actually exist, or is it just the mod creator's imagination? However, it does have one issue, though some may see it as an advantage. Even though the larger version in the mod costs less than half of the smallest vanilla biogas plant and is nearly 3 times smaller, it seems much more efficient. Technically, it has fewer cycles per month, but let's take silage as an example. A standard biogas plant processes 840 liters per cycle, while the modded one handles over 4,000 liters. For most players, this is obviously a plus as it increases profitability, but some might argue that it breaks the game's economy. Even though production chains were introduced in Farm Sim 22 and 25 added even more, we still can't be fully self-sufficient. Some things must be bought from the store, like mineral feed or seeds. But seeds don't just appear out of nowhere, so why do we always have to buy them instead of producing them ourselves? That's where a small yet powerful factory comes in. Size-wise, it's nothing special, but in terms of functionality, it changes a lot. Thanks to this factory, we can create a fully self-sufficient farm, as it allows us to produce seeds, mineral feed, fertilizer, and lime. As for the recipes, I'm no expert, so I can't say how realistic they are. I assume not very, although the mineral feed formula seems quite believable. However, the fact that we can produce lime from stones collected in the field doesn't seem realistic at all. But if we overlook that, or simply don't care about 100% realism, this factory is a great addition that makes gameplay more fun, and that's what it's all about, right? For players who value realism, a better option might be a factory that exclusively produces seeds. In the base game, there's only one type of seed that works for everything, but here you can produce seeds from different types of grains. The final product is still the same, but for roleplay players, it's a cool little detail. Plus, even though this factory only produces seeds, it actually seems more complex than the previous multi-purpose version. I've always wondered how popcorn is made. In the area where I live, corn is grown in many fields, but the kernels I've seen never look like the ones used for popcorn. I've come across different varieties, even colorful corn and types harvested whole with the cob, but I've never seen one specifically meant for popcorn. However, this factory allows you to process regular corn, the same kind we usually harvest for silage or grain, into popcorn. Is that realistic? Based on what I just said, probably not. But it's a fun addition to the game. Someone else might say, corn is corn and you make popcorn from corn. Simple as that. And honestly, there's some truth to that. There are mods that make the game a closer reflection of real life, others that balance between realism and the modder's creativity, and then there are those that are completely detached from reality, and I think this factory falls into that third category. I've seen many methods of producing silage, but I've never seen it made in a silo, unless of course this is actually done in some country. If anyone knows, feel free to share in the comments. Either way, this mod doesn't just let you produce silage in a silo, it also adds another factory that combines hay, silage, and straw to create total mixed ration. If you haven't connected the dots yet, this setup lets you automate distribution in the fermenter, meaning the ready-made silage is instantly sent to the mixer. Just add the remaining ingredients and you're good to go. A very convenient solution. The only downside is that the fermenter has a capacity of only 50,000 liters, so you'll have to keep refilling it. Luckily, you can make silage from hay, so just place it close to the barn and problem solved. If you're bored with all the available production chains, this factory will definitely interest you because it adds 2 unique products that require multiple ingredients. Ice cream. There are 3 options: chocolate ice cream, strawberry ice cream, and water. Yes, water. And it's only used in the strawberry ice cream, while chocolate ice cream requires milk. It makes sense since both milk-based and water-based ice creams exist, but it would have been more interesting if all of them required milk, especially since water is practically free. It's produced with 0 battery usage, and the only cost is $24 per month, so it's an odd choice. Still, the factory adds some freshness to the game. My only complaint would be the recipe for chocolate ice cream. Why does it require chili peppers? I'm serious. I've eaten hundreds of chocolate ice creams and none of them was spicy. I wonder if this is actually a real recipe or just the modder's wild imagination. Have you ever wondered why the developers keep adding strange new features instead of improving existing mechanics? For example, they introduced the ability to build houses and sheds by delivering materials, which is a cool feature. But on the other hand, factories still don't require pallet deliveries. They just magically appear. It would be so much better if we had a factory for producing empty pallets from wooden planks, which we could then deliver to other production sites. Sure, some players wouldn't like it, but since we already have to change the net wrap in balers, this extra factory would be a great addition. It's probably just a matter of time before modders add a similar mechanic to the game, although this would require reprogramming all the factories, and there are quite a few of them, so it's not a simple task. Even though a pallet factory already exists, another factory will surely appeal to players who enjoy unusual features. Though calling it a factory isn't entirely accurate, it's actually a greenhouse where you can grow a very amusing plant, beautifully modeled in terms of visuals. The idea itself is interesting and the execution is top-notch. The plant models, both in their early growth stages and when fully mature, look fantastic. I haven't seen them much in real life, but stepping into this greenhouse feels like a scene from a movie. Of course, a nice model alone isn't enough to make a mod truly great. The greenhouse has been slightly modified. Besides water, you can also add fertilizer, which is a nice gameplay enhancement. Too bad the author didn't add grow lights, which, as I've heard, are essential in reality, though I don't have any personal experience with this. But this mod doesn't stop at just a greenhouse. It feels like an entire DLC, as it includes 4 completely new factories, allowing you to process the plant into various products, from cookies and chocolate to paper and clothing. That means extra hours of production and fun. The only thing missing for a perfect experience is manual harvesting. In Farm Sim 22, I already showed a mod that let you harvest grapes into crates using pruning shears, so it's technically possible. Maybe in future versions of this mod, the creator will add this feature. If you enjoy greenhouse farming in Farming Simulator, I have an interesting addition: a garden. It may not be a greenhouse, but it works exactly the same way. Add water and the plants grow beautifully. However, I wouldn't include it in the video if it were just an ordinary garden. This one stands out because besides the standard greenhouse crops, you can grow unique plants like pumpkins, watermelons, pineapples, and the aforementioned amusing plant. If you want to grow it though, I recommend the previous mod because here it looks like a duplicated 2D texture, which isn't great. I don't know why the author did it this way, especially since pumpkins, for example, are full-fledged 3D models, well designed and pleasing to the eye. So, if you're looking for a wider variety of crops, some look fantastic, while others not so much. If you're into canned food or fishing, this factory will surely interest you. It adds sweet corn production, which interestingly doesn't require sugar. Relax, that was a joke. I'm pretty sure sweet corn doesn't need sugar in reality either. It's just a specific variety of corn that goes into cans. And why did I mention fishing? Because I've personally used corn as bait when fishing. Let me know in the comments which mods you'd like to see in the next video. Subscribe and see you soon.